right, welcome everybody back to another edition of Bourbon Banter Evans. Justin, what do we have for the people today?
All right, great idea. We had some people submit some ideas of what we could possibly do for another banter, so we came up with top 5 bourbons for gift ideas for the season, aka Christmas giving time, for gifts and to enjoy or consume and or give, just to give for Christmas. So that being said, these are based off of our market, based out of spirits after years of having sold several bourbons throughout many hours of work and then a lot of people coming through the store for gift ideas. So that's what we're going to do. Top 5 bourbons sold from spirits for gift giving during the reason for the season, which is drinking bourbon.
All right.
So
which one do we want to start with?
And I'm talking about bourbon season, by the way.
Bourbon season.
Yeah.
Definitely. Which one do you want to start with?
All right, so let's go our left to right. So it'll be you guys as right to left, I believe, on camera, if I've got that correct.
That is
so
correct.
what we're going to start with is, believe it or not, we can almost call this the OG bourbon for gift giving, because this is the #1, hands down, gifted bourbon for years and still probably ranking supreme.
Still. All right.
Woodford Reserve.
All right.
Standard, just a regular Woodford Reserve. We have gone through several things of Woodford double oaked and some of the other expressions. People still see the Woodford, but kid you not, Woodford,
just a regular
standard Woodford Reserve is the original go-to for gift giving. It is like the standard. It was one of the higher end batches that came out a long time ago. Obviously this came out between 96 and 98 when they rolled it out, and then it came into a higher price point than a lot of the other bourbons. And then as it became more popular drinking bourbon, it became more popular as gift giving because it was considered like a higher end. Now, what this competes with, believe it or not, which is still really popular, let's just be truthful, back in the day would have been Crown Royal.
Crown. Yeah.
Crown was the standard go-to for a gift.
Yep.
Purple box looked great.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
considered high end. And so now we have Woodford.
Definitely.
And so I know these videos are uncut and unfiltered. That being said, Charles, do you feel like you're looking up?
Yes.
Okay, just make sure. So if I look funny, I'm looking up, it's because I'm kind of, you know, it's been a little bit, there's a little bit of gap in between due to scheduling, so we apologize for any delays in some Bourbon Banter videos, but we're back, we're going, we're doing top 5 gifts for giving.
I can tell you right
Christmas
now.
time.
Yeah, I have not had Woodford, regular Woodford, in probably over 2 years.
Really?
Yes.
I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
So every single year, Derby Day, which is sponsored by Woodford, is like the bourbon of Kentucky Derby. So Derby Day, I drink Woodford or Old Forester.
Right.
And so Woodford's just the original go-to, like I said. So this has been a popular gifted bourbon for years. I mean, I'm talking about a long, long time. And it's just the standard price point on the shelf. Of course, it's gone up just like everything over time.
Right.
And it is still the #1 gifted bourbon. When a lot of people see it, they're just like, I know Woodford. I know Woodford. Even if you don't know bourbon, for the most part, because it was still early on when it came out, it came in at a good time, they know Woodford and they know the price point. And you're probably thinking, well, look at these bourbons that we have out there. How could it be over those? And we'll get to that a little bit later on in the video when we get to those specific ones. And the other thing, if you're okay with it, how about a review? Let's not just talk about which are the top 5, but let's review the bourbons, what they taste like, and what you guys might expect when purchasing or drinking or consuming these products, and to give scenarios. So
yeah, I'd love to do it.
Cheers to you, sir. And cheers to you guys out there. Grab a glass, join in, please watch, or he does it best, subscribe and
Subscribe,
join.
yep. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button right down below.
It's just really, really nice bourbon. It's got a little bit of oakiness to it that I like. I think that's the typical flavor profile for Woodford.
Man.
You get a little bit of the woody or oakiness to it.
Yeah.
And I'll let you do what
No,
you think, because this is the fun part. This is the first time you've had it in a long time. I think you're pleasantly surprised.
I am.
Why haven't I had this since then?
I haven't. And you know, you sit there and you have all these other ones. You have Eagle Rare. You have, you know, even some of the higher ends. If you're lucky, whenever you get E.H. Taylors and stuff like that, and you're like, man, I don't know what can beat that. Then you come here and you get a Woodford, and I'm surprised. You know, you're thinking
the quality is there.
The quality is
it's
definitely there.
And I'm not saying it's gonna be people's favorites, but it's still got a really nice, it's not too tannic or anything. It's got some oak tannins to it, but it's got that little bit of oakiness. It is a standard mash. It's got that, it's still smooth though for what you get.
Very.
It's 90.4 proof. You know, they produce some of the higher end stuff. And speaking of higher end, I need you to verify one thing for me as always. This is a Pappy Van Winkle.
Yes, sir, it is.
Polo.
Yes.
And can you verify my awesome bourbon socks?
Bourbon socks.
Pappy Van Winkle
Winkle
bourbon socks.
And not only which ones? Red label.
So that's the red label. So that's probably going to be what I'm going to guess is the lot B.
Lot B. That's what I would say.
Because it's got a white going down the sock with the red. So I think it's a lot B, but most people would probably go the 20 year.
The 20 year.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking lot B just because it's one of my favorites.
Oh yeah, for sure. Lot B is great. So back to Woodford. So we've got this, been around for a while. We call it the top selling gift at our store, the OG gift. And this is probably expected to be seen in a lot of people's either boxes under trees, or a lot of people put in stockings, or don't forget, top 5 gifts during the season. Bourbon season it is, Christmas season as well. You're going to find it at a work party, more than likely. And just about every wedding now has them too.
Yeah.
It's a very popular.
Honestly, if you haven't tried it, give it a try, because you will be very pleasantly surprised. Not having it in a while, I forgot how oaky it is, and I'm one I really love. I love the double oaks. I love that. I love that oak flavor, and this one
it builds just a little bit as it rolls back. Yeah. It doesn't have much of a bite. The palate stays a little bit forward on the tip of the tongue, where you get just a hair of the tiniest spice, but it is balanced with the oak, because that's where it takes over. Now, a lot of the Brown-Forman products, they toast their barrels prior to doing this. There's only about 4 or 5 people as of our visit to Brown-Forman Cooperage that even know what the toasting before they char. They don't put toasted on there. They don't put toasted on which products are or not. They know that a lot of Brown-Formans are done that. Now, there's a lot of brands that specifically market that this one was toasted versus their other ones are not. So that actually, we've talked about this before in other videos as far as what that does. Think of it putting it in an oven or a toaster, and then you toast the stave, and then it's charred. So it's a different process, but it adds a different flavor. But it makes this really nice.
It does.
And it'll stand up in a cocktail, because people still make Woodford cocktails. It's a known thing. And it still has the quality that you can drink it neat, drink it with ice if you want to. And it still has what I've always considered it as a really good looking package.
I love it.
On the shelf.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, in a frustrating scenario, it does take up a little bit of shelf space as far as width goes, but it still stands out, and people recognize that label on the shelf.
About the same width. Looks like maybe about the same width.
1719 is the same way. Yeah. So that is, Woodford in a nutshell.
The finish on it. I'm very surprised about the finish, because it is so smooth on the back end. To me.
Oh yeah. I mean, you credit where credit is due. If you're gonna be a person that ranks or rates bourbons off of smoothness, and that is what really tips the scale as far as whether you're gonna say this flavor or that flavor. If you're just gonna say, oh, this one's harsh, or this one has some bite, or this one has some burn, or this one doesn't, Woodford is just a smooth, easy drinking, but it still has depth and character to it.
I do get those. I want it almost like, what do you call them? Those baking spices,
just
kind of right on the tip.
Just a tip on the tip stage, just on the tip.
Yep.
Now the rest of it, what I'm getting, it's not just oak and spice, but you get a little bit of a sweetness in the palate through the palate. Mm-hmm. But that balance, that oak still comes through on this one specifically.
The sweetness I'm catching as it's going towards the back.
Yeah, it does. And then the other thing that is kind of different that I haven't talked about before when trying different bourbons is some bourbons, depending on the temperature you try them at, they differ.
True.
But if you do these all at room temperature, some bourbons almost have a cooling effect. And I'm not talking about mint. I'm talking about cooling as in the liquid doesn't seem hot or cold. Yeah. But in this case, it almost has that cooling effect that the liquid seems cold even though it's not chilled. Right. Yeah. And so sometimes with some of these, I can almost see that happening with this one. Where it's like I'm not saying you're going to be refreshed like you're drinking a cold beverage, but it doesn't. It's not pungent or anything like that.
It's not hot. It's not it's not hot. It's not because there's a lot of things you'll get at room temperature, and some things at room temperature just taste hot. They do. Yeah. And no, it's been a while since I've had something.
So pleasantly surprising.
Very, very. Wow. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. Really. I mean, that should be just about a staple in a rotation on decanters at your house. If you like having multiple decanters like I do, I usually have 5, and they stay in there. And speaking of decanters, let us not forget the Control. Yep. So we will be comparing these to the Control at one point in the video, as long as we don't run out of time.
Will be.
And everybody, we throw back to the retro VO decanter.
Yes, indeed. And
it pours yourself a shot. We got to always talk about the decanter, but the stuff in here, people are still guessing. People are still wondering. Reach out to us. Again, cheers to you guys. Reach out to us. Join us in a video, or let us know what you think it is. Yep. Or
give us some ideas, and we'll take those ideas. Join us in a video. You'll get to try it.
You get to try it and see if you can figure out what it is.
Exactly. Remember, like, subscribe. Appreciate it, guys.
All right, now on to a bourbon that I haven't tried in a long time. So number 2. Number 2, still ranking supreme. Very, very popular gift bourbon. And I think it has to do with the presentation because it's wax dipped and it looks cool. Yeah. That being said, Maker's Mark.
Makers.
How can you not have Maker's Mark under a tree? It's got this. It's red.
Yeah, I mean
it's a Christmas color.
It's literally the Christmas bottle.
Yeah, it is, and it is. It looks fancy. It's wax dipped. Mm-hmm. It looks cool. It's got a good looking presentation. It doesn't use the E on whiskey, which follows Scotland, which is the correct way, even though bourbon follows follows Irish, which is American.
Yeah.
And so they use the E. So they're one of the few bourbons that says no E. Wax dip, and you can go to the distillery and dip your own bottle, which that's what this is. So we won't be opening this one because I did this one. I dunked this one, and we'll rotate it around so you guys can see on camera. I kind of got into a little bit of trouble. The distillery did not want me to take it because I accidentally covered the government warning, as you can see. But I talked them out of it because it says the letters G and O. So I was like, look, it says go. And that's close enough for government work.
Exactly.
And so they let me keep it, and as you keep rotating, I got my signature on it. I just chose a pint because, again, I'm not a big Maker's drinker, and I didn't need more than that. And I just wanted to try to dunk one. And so this is a true dunk that went all the way to the ground.
Yeah, we were trying to actually get the whole bottle, at least, but it didn't work for me. His is a lot better than mine.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, we were trying to break the rules.
Yeah, we were trying to break the rules.
So we have the little minis of Makers to drink instead, and shout out to #KeenanPour. Keenan Pour. So we have your Keenan's Pour of your 40th birthday Makers in the mini. So I don't think I'm going to put it all in there.
No, I'm not either.
Because we have to make it through 5 of these.
Yeah.
And by the time we get to the last one, it's going to be the best one.
Now I'm looking at this one. This is college. This brings back college to me. This is what I used to mix with.
How many people? Oh, cheers! By the way, Makers for your number 2 out of spirits.
Cheers.
Gifted bourbon. How many people in college have not tried a Makers and Coke?
I know. I mean, it's usually when you get into your junior, senior year, when you have a little bit more money maybe, and you can afford the Makers, that type of stuff. But I that's what my go-to was.
And I know what you guys are thinking. Justin's about to shred this Makers into the ground because he doesn't drink Makers. You're absolutely right. No, I'm not going to do that.
But it is.
We will talk about the bourbon.
It is probably the second
most purchased gifted bourbons through the holiday. And the only downside is since we're in the holiday season right now, bourbon season as well, it is on a bit of a shortage. So we are allocated the amount that we're getting because of the way the world works right now. Either glass shortage, liquor shortage, aka liquid to put in the containers, so on and so forth. So we're working through that, trying to keep as much as we can. And sometimes we might have pints, sometimes we might only have fifths, sometimes we might only have half gallons. But Makers is still trying to keep up as best they can, just like anybody.
Yep.
So on the nose, which we didn't talk about the nose on the Woodford too much, but it's still habit. I cannot drink anything without smelling it now.
No, I do too, but on the Woodford, I just went right into
It's strange when I find myself nosing my water before I drink it. It does happen, though. So I automatically get a little bit more ethanol in the nose in this one.
Yeah.
And even though it's a wheated bourbon, this is a wheat mash, that's what Makers uses, with a lower entry proof and everything as far as in the barrel, it has more ethanol and it has more spice on it. And it doesn't make sense because it's a wheat. To me, it should be more palatable, softer, and a little bit sweeter.
I am getting the sweet notes, though.
It's there. Yeah. All right. First sip. I'm getting corn.
Yes.
Corn sweetness on that. You can tell that is. You can tell it's a wheated, but the corn shines through that sweetness to go with the wheat. Generally, if you have corn with the wheated, they call them sweet wheats for a reason. Corn is sweet, rye is spice, and wheat is smooth. So if your flavor grain, which would be your wheat or rye, this is a wheater, matches up and compares with that corn, it creates a sweeter, more palatable. But I get a corny.
What's weird is I get the sweet right at the tip, and then I get corn right, all the way back.
And so one of the things I've always said, if you want a sweeter bourbon, and not sugar sweet.
No.
I'm talking about mash bill and flavor sweet. Makers is one I've always said. And so a lot of people are like, well, what would you cook with? I was like, well, if you don't mind paying the price and you want a sweet bourbon to cook with, Makers actually does really well cooking. I don't drink it that
or something like that.
Yeah. Bourbon Can Chicken, which is I started doing years ago. I took a chicken chimney. And this is also a great thing to do during the holiday times with family. Get you a full chicken.
Yeah.
Gut it. Do whatever you do. Go get a chicken chimney. Fill it with Maker's Mark. Maker's Mark has their own barbecue sauce. Set the bird on there. Coat it. I use Rectech. Grill it. Smoke it. But I would say smoke it until it's done. It creates such a nice bird.
I bet.
Yeah, it just pairs well with food.
Instead of a beer can chicken, a bourbon chicken.
It's bourbon can chicken. Yeah. And technically not a can anymore because I got a chicken chimney, which is a pre-designed bird that sits on there.
Yeah.
Second sip. All right, so it's lighting up, or lightening, like that's making it lighter.
Yeah.
Uncut, unfiltered.
Unfiltered.
90 proof, to me, still drinks very close to 90 proof.
It does. It does.
And which is fine.
I've got a little linger on the tip, though.
It does. Yeah. Or some people could call that oily, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, it just depends.
Yeah.
The mouth feels kind of drying, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. And other than that, it's palatable.
Oh, definitely.
It's very easy. I think Woodford, if you were going back to the smooth level for gifts giving,
yes,
or just drinkability, Woodford is smoother.
And especially what you're looking at right here, we're trying everything neat. Neat to me, yes. I mean, sure, you're going to go there. Out of these two, that's the one right now.
Right. Yeah. And you know, so many people mix makers and use it in cocktails, which is fine. I mean, that's what it was used for years, you know, and until the boom kicked in, which is why we're doing fun things like these videos as to why people are starting to drink it just over ice or neat.
Right.
And so that's, you know, part of the process. And, you know, I don't think that I would sit around drinking makers neat. If I was going to drink it, I'd probably pop an ice cube in it. But, you know, some of the other expressions are what most people rave about. You know,
exactly.
The FAE 2.1 or O2.
But great, at the price point and everything else like that.
Oh, yeah, price point. Yeah. So now we're looking at, you know, Woodford's now taking a couple of price increases thanks to Brown-Forman and all their shortages, which is everywhere. It's across the entire industry. They're doing, you know, what they can to keep up to. So they, you know, it costs more to get it to us, so they charge us more, so we have to go up. So it's gone up $1. But so you're talking about mid to high 30s, and then Makers is going to be right at 30s.
Yeah.
Or high 20s is technically, I guess what it is. But it's crept up a little bit too.
Right.
And this is talking about per fifth for these size that we're drinking.
Yeah.
Pretend that's a fifth.
Yeah. We're right up here with it. But no, not bad. I do remember it. You know, it's been a while since I've had it, but I can't tell you the last time I've had it neat. I've always just mixed it with it.
Yeah. The last time I had it neat was at the distillery when I dunked the bottle.
Yeah, that would be the last time.
And that's has a date on there.
Yes, it does.
6/1/2018.
So 3 years ago.
Yeah,
a little over 3.
Yeah. So yeah.
But then we were also doing Makers 46. We had
the other ones. Yeah, they had the cash strength. Now we might get a little bleed over as far as a little bit of Woodford left in there, but it's not going to be that much.
Not enough to hurt anything. So
clean the palate there, Charles.
Yeah, I understand.
Because we are getting a little bit of bleed over.
All right, so third on the list would be what?
Third on the list is one of my all-time favorites and go-tos, just for your standard drinkability, flexibility for everything you can imagine. You can put it in cocktails, you can drink it neat, you can put it on ice, you can make Sazeracs, you can make Old Fashions, Manhattans, you can make any cocktail you want with it, or you can give it as a gift, which a lot of people do, which everybody knows that comes in the spirits and, you know, shops there, that we do a lot of 1792 things because we're just big fans of 1792.
Definitely.
Now, over the course of time since 2015, when we did our first barrel pick of 1792, the small batch has changed profile slightly over time. And back then, it was right when they transferred the name from Ridgemont to 1792, and they focused just on the year. And it goes back a little bit further than that because of lawsuits. So, 2002, 3, and 4, it was called Ridgewood. Lawsuit happened from Woodford. It was too close. They lost the lawsuit. Those are called lawsuit bottles.
If you can find one of those, get it.
Get it, yeah. And those are all 8-year age stated in the front, and then it went to the 8-year in the back, and they called it Ridgemont Reserve. Had the little burlap sack up here. Yeah. And in 2015, they make that
Is it transition?
Transition, yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah. Transition to the 1792 label, focusing on the number, which is the year that Kentucky became a state, which is why it's called 1792. Anybody that tells you different is wrong. Period. I don't care. I'm just going to not even say they might be inaccurate.
No.
I've watched videos before. They're just wrong.
Yep.
It is 1792 is named after the year Kentucky became a state.
You've been there enough times. You've talked to enough people at 1792 to know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yes. And so normally if somebody comes in the store and they're like, yeah, well, they told me this. I'm like, well, they might be a little bit off. No, this is just wrong. If they say something other than that, they're just wrong. So not trying to call people out. So we'll keep it, level-headed. But so 1792 is based off of that. We've been a big push behind 1792 because it's one of our favorite brands to drink and enjoy. We do barrel picks with them.
Yes.
We love visiting the distillery. The distillery is fantastic.
Great people too.
Barton makes some of the most amazing brands. They're involved in over 300 brands, which is wild to think that they do that. Now, it's not just bourbon, it's all kind of things. So if you want to go on an amazing distillery, the first 3 distillery tours, highly recommend.
Yes.
The 2 of the prettiest
yes, indeed.
grounds. and one of the best to go on educational and getting to
Yeah.
see cool things, you know, and such, you know.
And they just know what they're talking about, and just great people. I mean,
Yeah.
it's been an awesome tour.
Yeah, only one time, I say that's not true. A couple times I've found some holes in the information on the tour from 1792, but it doesn't matter. Most of the information is legit.
Right.
She had a great tour. She was really fun, but she had called it one thing and technically it was wrong. We didn't correct her, but you know,
Yeah.
we knew what she was talking about and meant, but you know, no big deal, no harm, no foul. Anyhow, back to our video. 5 gifts, top 5. We're now on number 3, 1792 small batch. This is an L21. I just cracked it before we did the video. And so, cheers to you guys out there. Hope you're enjoying. Hope you're joining in. Hope you're, figuring out what your gift might be and where we're going to go with this 6th one that you don't see.
That's just 1792 right off the nose. I mean,
so natural.
It is.
So neutral, but it also has baking spice.
it does, but it's almost got that like Florida, the flowery,
It's
the
got
floral.
kind of a little bit of floral. Yeah.
That's
Almost
one thing-
fruity. It's
yeah,
almost like a
yes,
fruit and
yes,
floral.
yes.
Fruit/floral.
Mm-hmm. But that's just, to me, that is just signature 1792.
It is. And then that's what I like about it. And then you try it and you're like, okay, the nose is different than the palate.
Exactly.
Yeah. Man.
Ooh. Man, that's
so drastically different.
It is. But to me, it's right now out of the 3, it is the most dynamic one.
It is. It's got more character.
Yes.
It's got more what is going on. Now, I'm not saying you're going to like it.
No.
But it has more. You have to figure out the flavors and if you do like it. Now, 93.7, if I'm wrong, let me check because I've seen videos where they do that. And they're like, I think it's 93.7. And what do you know, 93.7?
There you go.
Yeah, so, been around that one a couple times.
But I'll tell you what, man, you're exactly right. When you sit there and you try, on these, you can kind of sit there and you can kind of go over in your head, all right, what am I sitting, right on the tip?
Yeah.
What am I getting? Man, it's so many different flavors right off the bat.
Right.
And
it rolls past the tip, sits more in the middle of the tongue, and then rolls back, and it hits you with different flavors more than it does really proof or burn.
Oh, I don't get proof on this at all.
No. And this is the highest proof one so far.
Right.
And they're involved in a lot of brands that you drink that you may not even know.
That's true.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be definitely encouraging everybody to look up what Barton 1792 Distilling or vice versa 1792 Barton Distilling does and what they're involved in. You'd be shocked at how many brands they are involved in, especially bourbons in this case because we're doing
and how different they are across the
way. Yeah. Now this is considered a high rye mash, so we'll go ahead and talk about that.
Which you don't, you think of high rye, you get like that lot of spice and everything.
You get some baking spice
but
or allspice, but it's not in your face. It's
No.
well balanced because it's so natural.
Right.
Now these used to be 8 years. Most of them are still really near that. Our youngest barrel pick that we did came in at 710.
Yeah, something like that.
710, I think. We did one that was 8.4.
Yep.
And then we did one that was actually it was 810. Sorry, it was 7. I think it was 7.9.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
It was 7. It was almost 8.
Yeah.
Then we did because there was a gap period. There's actually a gap. If you follow when Sazerac buys them out, they actually shut them down for a year back in 2010, 2009 time frame.
Yeah.
They shut them down. Then they ramped up production back again after a year later being shut down. This is a side note. Nobody's paying attention to what I'm saying because it's a side note. Then there's a gap. So there's a gap where it wasn't 8 years anymore. It became 7, and they catch back up. And then we have other product that's older now. So moving forward. We went from our first pick that we did was 10 year 4 month.
Yes.
Old granddad is what they called the barrel because it was a grandfather barrel. It's old.
It was good.
Then we have a 8.10 and then around a 7.9 or so.
I think it was 7.9.
Yeah.
I'm trying to go back and I think it is 7.9 on that one.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna be honest. We did another one which was a really famous one, and I just went blank and don't have a clue what the age was. So we're gonna pretend that didn't happen. Fubar. I have no idea. I just went blank. I just went blank. Anyhow,
Fubar was fairly old.
It wasn't 9 because I was after a 9.
But it was 8 something.
I don't know.
I can't remember either.
So anyhow, top.
It's a good problem to have that many bottles and can't remember all the ages.
Hey, but I went back to 2015. I can tell you what the barrels yielded.
That was one of your first ones.
Yeah. So
it happens. Uncut.
Back to small batch. So one of the reasons that this is the top 3, and some years it does actually sell more bottles than the other 2, but for the most part it stays below that in gift giving. You got to remember, we are doing gift giving, not just sales in December. People that specifically come in and asking for bourbons to gift.
Right.
I'm not saying that you're going to see this one at a Christmas party because it still doesn't have the name following of Woodford and Makers.
Right.
But it is a very popular bottle to be purchased and given as a gift because a lot of times people are asking for, hey, I have a bourbon drinker on my list.
Yep.
I need to buy this price range, or White Elephant gift giving, $25 or less, and this tag's right at $25. So it becomes a very popular go-to.
Well,
and the packaging.
And it's a good drinker too. I mean, a lot of people say, I want something under $30, but I want it to be good. Well, guess what? Right here. You go right here. I mean, it is a great drinker.
It is. It's a fantastic drinker. And let's just pretend that you're buying for a bourbon fan that is nothing but whatever brand and cola. Coke, soda. I should say soda, not cola. Cola is like a rip-off term for Coke. We're in the South. But soda, like say they like ginger ale. Say they like 7-Up or Coke with their bourbon. This is fine for that.
Mm-hmm. And
you're not breaking the bank. And it's a good quality bourbon.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, one of these and an old-fashioned too.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about earlier. But look at the packaging though. And so this is specific. I'm not pushing more 1792, but you put that fancy gold cap on there.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, it looks great.
Yeah.
And then you see it, and it just, they went to this, style that 1792 was going after. And the display that we have in the store, we call it the Great Gatsby display.
Yeah.
It's what they're going for. They're trying to, add that, the eye-catching, it's got the gold on there. They're going to highlight the numbers.
I hate to say it. I mean, it's
the bottle shape is cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And so, there you go. Number 3 on the list from Spirits is
all right,
1792 small batch.
Just for you, out of these 3 right here, which one have you enjoyed the most tonight?
So moving on to the...
I'm just curious. Out of these 3.
That's such a tough question.
It is.
I'm glad that you asked that on an uncut, unfiltered video.
I've enjoyed all of them, but I'll go with mine. Right now, mine, I'd have to go with a small batch.
All right, so this is why this is so tough for me. The very first bourbon I ever drank and enjoyed was from my dad, which some of you guys know my dad, some of you guys don't. It was Woodford. Woodford put us into the bourbon world.
Right.
The very first half gallon of bourbon I ever consumed, whether it took me a month or however long that took, was 1792.
Ah, okay.
I guarantee you I'm not picking Makers on this question.
So we'll just say a tie. How about that?
I'll give it a tie.
Yeah,
I'll give it a tie. I equally enjoy them.
There.
What I often consume more frequently is 1792. Yep. Do I still have a special place for Woodford because it was a very memorable time?
Oh yeah.
And this is 2009.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I know the date, as far as the year 2009.
Right.
I've got it engraved when it was the older batches of Woodford. That's sitting on that bottle. I still have it. My dad gives me a hard time about why I haven't opened it. But
right. Well,
there's a gift from him from 2009.
The thing I love about it is what I'm sitting here going. I'm going depth of flavor. That's what I was thinking of right now. Out of all these, that's
1792 has
depth.
Woodford beat, I think,
yes.
in character and. Like I said, if you guys are drinking this and you receive a gift or you buy a gift for yourself, you got to remember sometimes you got to treat yourself and give yourself a gift. Yeah,
you have to. And
so
we'll talk about that in a little bit.
You can say some people might crap on any of these brands, but we're not crapping on anything.
No,
we're talking about what we honestly think, the review, exactly. And I'm just telling you what sells and gift giving in our market,
and which I think is awesome because that is you don't really know what goes on in your market. Right. You really don't, and you don't know how you.
I've got the sheet,
yes,
or the numbers.
You've got all the numbers,
yeah.
So all in the computer, So, but no, Woodford, you know me in the oak.
You can't deny Woodford's quality. Some people don't like it, but that's fine. That's why they make dozens of brands. I might not like my shirt, or you might not like my shirt. Right. That's why they make other shirts.
So I have one more. So we're looking at this. We are allocated on Woodford. Are just
it's not allocated, it's just short
right now.
So no allocation yet.
How about Makers?
Allocated and short.
And then how about 1792?
So far no short, just allocated.
Okay.
And now some allocations are larger than others.
Right.
So we might be talking about you get 2 bottles of this. That's obviously rare allocation. That's a small amount. Versus you're only allowed to buy this amount of cases per month. To make sure that it's still there.
Right.
Because if not, you could bill it every time you needed it, but it'd be out of stock.
One of the reasons why I wanted to bring it up is because, just, if you go in there and you only see a few bottles and everything, that could kind of give you a reason why.
Sure, yeah. So don't think that, oh man, I got to get it because it's short. Don't ever think that. It could literally just be we're waiting for the delivery because it might not be our turn on the allocation until it is,
Exactly.
Right now we're low on these in the store. But it's one of our most popular bourbons that we sell at the store.
You just have to wait till they come in.
And we've, sales reps already reached out to me. Not that this was a question or anything, but so we've got the next delivery date coming in. So
sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. So now we are looking at, we've done 1, 2, 3. So now we're going to number 4, which is
Alice Cleaner.
One most everybody knows, Eagle Rare.
How can you deny Eagle Rare the opportunity to be in a top 5 gift? And I know what you guys are thinking.
Oh yeah.
Is you can't put Eagle Rare on the top 5 list when it's allocated and so hard to get. Not true. I can't.
Not
because if you follow the pattern going back to 2012, 13, and 14, Eagle Rare was always available. Always available. And what we did back then was we pushed people into trying. Yes, we actually had to push them and take our word on how good Eagle Rare was.
Never heard of this.
Why do I want
to try it?
We pushed these two brands together side by side as gifts and or to take home to try with your family, which we'll get to that in a minute, what you tried with your family.
Exactly.
Eagle Rare has been an original bottle on the shelf, and it wasn't until recent times, aka years ago, that it just blew up to where you couldn't get it.
Past 2 to 3 years.
At all. Yeah, 3 years, I'd say.
3 years,
You couldn't get it at all. You had to beg and plead. But right now there's an interesting phenomenon
In Georgia?
In Georgia.
Yes.
So we have an abundance of Eagle Rare at the moment, so we're enjoying it at the times. It doesn't mean it's going to last forever. It doesn't mean it's going to be permanent. It just means enjoy it while you can and gift give, which people have already done. And this is why I said, Charles, it's got to make the list. I said, I've already had multiple people come in and buy cases from me.
Really?
Because they're like, these are great gifts.
And they are.
It's a fantastic gift. Now, the numbers aren't there to catch up to these.
But it still
makes it.
Yeah.
And then we'll explain why this one's sitting in last when we get to it. But have some Eagle Rare, sir.
Thank you, sir.
This is a 10-year. Used to be a single barrel. It's not anymore. And we will discuss Eagle Rare and what we think of this one. Now, this is do you know what the year on this one is?
I think it's a 21.
Is it a 21?
I believe so.
Yep, L21. So this is a 21. So this is this year's release.
Yes, it is.
So we will be talking about specifically, and yes, the batches, which are very, very tiny, 2 barrels maybe, vary. And so L21 has been a great year from Sazerac, in my opinion. If you are into trying bourbons, get some L21s. That's the laser codes. If you aren't familiar with the laser codes, take a light or look carefully. You think thumbnail, you find it, and you can tell what it is. So Eagle Rare it is with a little bit of bleed over from the other 3, which is a very tiny amount.
Shouldn't cause any noticeable differences.
And let's nose this one. I know it's going to be good.
Oh, it does. It's just that candy, man. It's just
all right. So I know who wins the nose on the first 4.
It's just that candy.
It is. It is such a sweet. Those dried figs, the dried dates, the dried fruits, or as the master blender at Sazerac calls them dark fruits. Which I say dried. I've been saying that for years. I'm not going to change my term because he's better than me.
But it's just.
But I say dried. He says dark. The same thing.
It's just so much. To me, it's just like candy on there, and it's the fruity. You can tell it's the fruity nose.
Yeah,
but
it's
a sweet fruity nose.
And then when you try it, a lot of the Eagle Rare has those vanillas and caramels going into it. Yeah. And
I tell you what,
it's very pleasant.
Should have still beat Henry McKenna, I think.
Well, are we bringing that up?
Sorry,
we're bringing that up. That specific Henry McKenna just happened to be
that was
a home run.
And I will go back. I always have to jab you a little bit about that Henry McKenna.
That one,
lights out beat.
That hands down. That night, I would have normally been the one wanting Eagle Rare to fight for in Bourbon Court, but in that scenario, Henry McKenna for the W.
Sorry to get us off track. I digress. I'm sorry.
So, Eagle Rare. Here we go. Let's
we did nose.
Off the nose.
First sip. What do you think?
Man, it's even sweet on the nose.
It is so sweet on the nose.
All right, so you want, compared to the other ones, if you were to use velvety as a term that has no bite, brown sugar water, or sweet tea, or any of those terms that describe the no ethanol, just flavor, and no bite, that you're not even drinking alcohol. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to get this when you drink Eagle Rare, but if you do it in this order and then you come to this, these are words that then could make sense.
Yep.
So what I'm saying is the nicest way to describe absolutely no ethanol.
No, and
it is straight flavor bomb.
It has that oil and it just coats the tongue. It does not dry out.
It stays right at the tip to the middle.
Yep.
Then it rolls back to nothing but flavor and just builds. And then you're almost kind of like, this might be almost too light. But then you realize it dries up in your mouth a little bit, and then you're like, no, it's not too light. No. It's flavor.
I mean,
to say that a 10-year of this quality is only $39 compared to the other ones, which is, again, price point 25s, 30s, 35s and up.
Yeah.
It's
phenomenal.
It's awesome. And it finally, makes the list because it's available again, which is great.
Mm-hmm. It's one that I think should be in most. I mean, it really is dependent upon your taste and everything. But to me, it's one that should be in everybody's decanter.
Oh, this is a drinker of drinkers.
Yes.
Yeah. Until something happens, I mean, we're not talking about Eagle Rare 17 where you can't get it. Until something changes to where they make this where it's one bottle a year. This is a keep it in your rotation of drinking decanters. Now, talking about gifts, this time of year, I got to share a story real quick.
Go for it.
All right. So, Eagle Rare. This was back when it was a 10-year single barrel.
Okay.
I get an invite to be in my buddy's wedding. Now, I was like, great, sure, I'll be there. He was married on New Year's Eve. Go down there. This is South Georgia. So have a great time. And in my groomsman bag, kid you not, he says, heard you like Eagle Rare. And I have this, I think, if the years are correct, I want to say it's 2014.
Okay.
I think it's 2014. Because I think that's when he got married. And I see a bottle of Eagle Rare, and I was like, this is fantastic. So for that entire wedding, I drank 2014, I believe, single barrel 10-year Eagle Rare before they switched over and took the single barrel away from it.
To the batch, yeah.
Yeah, to the batch, yeah. So when I talk about gifted from a long time, it is literally a gifted bourbon.
Yeah.
And used as a gift. There are people that give it as gifts. There are people that receive it as gifts. And by all means, if you receive this as a gift, enjoy it. It's just a pleasant.
I've received it as a Christmas gift.
Yeah, I think this is a great Christmas gift.
I was.
The other ones I would never be mad at. If somebody gives me Makers, thank you.
I'll make a cocktail of it.
Yeah, I'll do something with it. If somebody gives me Eagle Rare 17 October Woodford, I'm going to be like,
let's open it right now.
Let's open it and enjoy it. You're going to pour it too,
Exactly.
And so that's just the first sip after having the other one.
I know. Let's go.
Well, we didn't cheers, by the way. So cheers, and cheers to you guys. Thank you again for joining in. Hope you enjoyed the video.
Yes, please.
Hope you guys get some bourbon gifts this season. Bourbon season, Christmas season.
And also remember, like, subscribe. Sip number 2, right?
Mm-hmm. Man, it's just pleasant.
Man,
it's just pleasant. It's just so flavorful, and it's good flavors here. It's got your sweetness to it, but your vanillas, your caramels are still there, and you still get those dried fruits. The dark fruits or dried fruits.
Right.
They're there. Then you get this little bit of evaporation, and then it builds on the middle of your tongue towards the tip, but not the back, and it just kind of dries it up just a hair to let you know, by the way, I'm still 10 years old.
Yeah, I still have a little bit there.
And then that right there is the oak saying, don't forget about me. Don't forget about me. I'm drying you up a little bit. But it's so flavorful. It's balanced to the point where you don't really get that.
But I don't get. For me, the drying happens right on the very back. Usually,
so
for
you
me,
get on the back. Okay.
Yeah, mine goes on the very back. Usually, for a lot of like this one, Woodford, you get that that hug. What I think that hug, and it doesn't do that. I just get it a little bit of drying towards the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that. Yeah. I mean, but everybody's palate's different.
Exactly.
This is what makes it fun. And so.
Well, that's why I like doing these, because even you and I, we have different tastes.
Yeah.
And and so that's what's great about it.
So not trying to rush through this, Charles, but I want to check on our time, make sure we're not taking too much time. We're good?
We're good.
Okay. So I just finished the third sip of Eagle Rare. Not mad at all.
No.
By all means, what a great gift bottle if you get a chance to gift one or get one.
Right.
I mean, can you deny that?
No,
all right.
not at all.
And so
Great,
at this
100%.
point, I would say now we're turning it around to ourselves or yourselves. If you get a bottle for your Christmas gift or a bourbon season gift, would you be mad at any of these?
No.
I don't see how you could be.
No. I mean, I would be happy to get any of these. Honestly, I mean,
even if it wasn't these, I'd still be happy to get
I'd be happy to get any bottle because guess what?
I like trying.
I love trying. I don't care if it's something that everybody's it's rock gut or whatever. I'm still going to try it.
Yeah.
I really enjoy
the curiosity.
Trying. Yes.
Kills us.
Yes, it does.
It is so hard for us to not open every single thing in possession because I have to know.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter. I will go buy something sight unseen, don't even know what it's going to be like, and try it.
Especially if it's a store pick.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah. I got to know. I just have to know.
You can't go wrong.
And I recently, back to 1792, again, because he said we're good on time, so it's another story.
Yep.
Just picked up a store pick from a store in a different part of Georgia. A friend that's been on camera multiple times before was nice enough to mule it. Thank you again.
Yes.
And I recently tried it. I was happy I tried it. Never going to be mad about the money spent on it. It was a few dollars over retail. No big deal.
Nope.
Left it where I left it. I have no reason to drink it again, but it should be there at the next person's house for the next person that comes over that wants to try something that may like it. It was not for me.
Exactly.
It wasn't for really anybody else either.
I've had plenty of those.
But it happens, and I'm completely fine with it. Some store picks aren't great, and I'm not going to say that I'm always going to have good store picks. I don't know that. We're eventually going to have one that somebody can't stand.
We hope not.
We hope not. We try.
We try to do our best.
It's going to happen.
We try to do our best to give everybody what we think is best for them.
Right. And so, that being said, should we move on?
I think we should.
And try to explain why Buffalo Trace is on here. This is going to be a little bit more difficult to explain. And Eagle Rare wasn't hard to explain because it goes back a long time.
I think Buffalo Trace is probably a newer addition to...
It is. Yeah. It is a newer addition. That's exactly right. Yes. And you read my mind. So go ahead and pour it up.
All right.
Buffalo Trace, number 5 on the gift-giving list. So as storm over the last couple of years,
yes,
and I'm talking about a storm of people asking for Buffalo Trace, which is a good thing. Ask away. I mean, I'll sell you every bottle we have when we have it, if we have it, if we can get it. But unfortunately, this is an allocation that you get per month. Hopefully, as long there's that hopefully I said I wouldn't say anymore on Bourbon Banter.
It happens. Yeah,
that we hope for, and as much as we can. Last year was a great year for Buffalo Trace. It stormed out the door for Christmas. We had a store pick called Bison Extract. You got a bottle of it. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yes.
For the most part, it's it's kind of received as one of the best store picks I've ever done. And that was a solo project, unfortunately, due to the times. I had to fly up there and back. Yeah, Baby Taylor. But we named it Bison. So that kind of added to the sales for Christmas.
Right.
And it was after Christmas.
Well,
it was actually on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
And so we assumed that was a Christmas gift or just a Christmas consumption.
It wasn't a Christmas gift for me. It was a Christmas consumption for me.
Christmas consumption.
I took that one all to myself. I'm sorry.
Hey, I don't, I posted a photo and said, cheers to you guys, Bison Extract. Yeah. And so, a couple years, I mean, we're talking about Buffalo Trace is always popular. Recently, we used to get half gallons of it on display up front.
Right.
Back when this was a gift that we talked about. We used to get fifths of it as much as we'd want. Yep. There were 8-case deals that we could buy. We could get pints of it. We could get all kind of cool sizes.
Right. I remember.
Yeah. It just wasn't as popular as long as these have been popular at Spirits. So don't be confused with, well, of course it's popular. It's Buffalo Trace. Everybody knows it.
It's new. It's newly popular.
It's newly popular.
Yes.
Especially in our market. You got to remember, we are in Georgia.
Yep.
In Evans. This is,
we're not Atlanta.
Yeah, this is Bourbon Banter Evans.
Evans, Georgia.
And so this is strictly talking about our market. We are doing these brands. They definitely beat it with no problem, hands down. How's the nose?
Nose was good.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So that's why Buffalo Trace makes it, because of the last couple of years.
Now this one, I'll tell you. I mean, to me, it's Buffalo Trace.
Buffalo Trace. Okay.
Yeah.
It's Buffalo Trace. I mean, this is their standard go-to BT1.
BT1.
I believe 6 to 8. A lot of them are 8. I got lucky with my pick was 8.6.
8.6. Yep.
So anyhow, the last couple of years, this is taken over by storm, and it is hugely popular. So even if you aren't able to get this as a gift or aren't able to find it to give it as a gift, I guarantee you, at one point or another, you either see it at a bar,
Yes.
Christmas party, given to you, not given to you, or I guarantee you it was asked if you could buy one because you were looking for a gift. We've had multiple questions already this month, which it's only December 8th.
Yeah, people coming in, hey, do you,
Yeah. Hey, do you have Buffalo Trace? Hey, where's your Buffalo Trace?
And I've had friends of mine when they've come over and we've gone to Justin's store, boom, first thing they grab is there because they can't get it in their market. And it's one of those, and it's one of those that I will give it as a gift because I have a friend of mine, fraternity brother of mine, that loves it. Cannot get it very often, so guess what? It's what I'm going to be giving to him.
And let me state, for the last 2 years, when we've been on a good streak, this is one of the most recommended products recently. Now, again, still doesn't compare to these, but this one is because we had an abundance at one point, and of course it's gone down. But times change, allocations change, things
Well,
like that.
and then
we recommended that everybody's going to recognize Buffalo Trace. If you want to give a bottle that everybody's going to recognize,
all you have to do is look at the Buffalo on there. I mean, it's an iconic bottle.
It is. It's iconic. You're going to know Buffalo Trace, and you're going to know Maker's Mark. If you want to give two well-known bottles, those bottles are very well-known.
And this one is definitely coming up.
Oh yeah, it's huge now.
Right.
But there's still some people that don't know what Eagle Rare is.
Right.
And those are the really fun ones that I like talking to about, hey, you don't know what Eagle Rare is? And they're like, no. I'm like, oh, perfect.
Yes.
Here we go. Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah. And so I get your typical BT1. It still has a little bit, it's not as high on the ladder, I think, as far as the dried fruits. No. It's there.
It's there.
Because it's your typical BT1 mash, which BT1 is Buffalo Trace Mash 1, and there's BT2 Buffalo Trace Mash 2, and there's your proprietary wheat mash, which is in your Weller and lines along the Winkles and things like that.
To me, I get more vanilla notes than I do anything else. I don't get those, it's not as sweet. So to me, it goes more caramel, vanilla.
It is not as sweet. I agree with this as far as, this being made at the exact same place. Different amounts go into the batch.
Correct.
But at the same time, it's amazing how you can have the exact same distillery produce two different flavor profiles.
Yes.
And two different products with the exact same mash. But it doesn't surprise me when you go through there multiple times and see these guys.
Kudos to the people that taste it to make the batches.
Yeah, those guys that are going through and doing barrel sample after barrel sample to try to figure out what BT1 becomes which brand.
Yes.
Because we talked about 1792 being involved in a lot of brands. So are these guys.
Yes,
they have a lot of brands as well. Go on their website, check them out. You'll be surprised. You can get Old Charter, which is a younger version now, and it used to be an 8-year BT1.
Right.
But I still get the slightest hint of the sweetness, a little bit of the fruit. And I can almost see that floral you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Almost. I can understand that. Now, I've never been a person that could pick apart, well, I'm not saying I can't, I just won't. Well, I don't talk about tastes like shoe leather, wood. It tastes like wood chip cut pile, fresh cut grass. I don't do that. No, neither do you.
No, what I was going to say, not to interrupt you, but to me, the nose, what I'm smelling on the nose, that's the first thing. That's what we always do. We always smell with the nose. But then I go and I pick it apart. I can get, you smell floweries. I've never eaten a flower. Can't tell you what a flower tastes like.
You haven't eaten a rose? They're only poisonous.
But I can tell you the fruits and everything of that nature. So I'm with you. I'm not going to sit there, just like you were saying, shoe leather, or it tastes like, char number 4, burnt wood.
No. All right. Swig of ice cold water in a bottle.
Yep.
And then here we go for the last one. What are we looking at time wise? We good?
We're hitting up on it.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong. I would take that. Anybody gave this to me. Anybody said, "Hey, you want to? I'm going to open this bottle. Would you try it with me?"
Is growing on me.
It is.
It's growing on me over the last year.
It is.
Which in some of the live videos I've done. Buffalo Trace, I wasn't a huge fan of, but it's growing on me as I'm learning more through Buffalo Trace.
So to me, what I normally do with Buffalo Trace, and I'll be honest with you, I usually don't drink it neat. I usually with 1 cube of ice.
For sure, I'm drinking that with ice.
Yep. To me, it opens it up that much more, and I just enjoy it.
All right, so moving on my fancy card, because this is like ESPN where we're talking about stuff, the bourbon roundup.
Exactly.
So what we've drank during the holiday that is our drink of holiday choice. So let's discuss that real quick, and then we'll move forward to the next topic. We had a couple more topics, and we'll be done.
Go for it.
But again, cheers to you guys. Let's. I'm gonna do a little.
Yes, we have to do the control.
We have to do the control. We have to pour the best.
We have to.
Yeah. So we're doing the control. There you go, sir. What do we drink during the holiday? What is our preferred drink during the holiday? Now, last year it was an easy one because we just said it earlier. The bison pick that we did. Yeah. So control pick right here. Control versus these. So now a magic number 6 because I can't count.
Number 6.
Here, uncut, unfiltered again.
Yeah, but guess what? I'm going to tell you right now, this one's going to win.
This is going to win. Yeah.
It has to.
Oh my gosh, the nose. Maybe it's not going to win, but the nose is there.
Oh,
but the ethanol is there.
The ethanol
It's got to calm down. We just fresh poured it. So.
Exactly.
All right.
And we're in the bigger glass.
Yes, yeah. What we drink for the holidays. And fast round go.
Yep, fast round. Usually with me, holidays, last year, of course, was the bison. Holidays for me is one where we have family. Everybody usually has family together, and that's when I usually break out the big bottles that I have. And one of the ones that I really enjoy, and I've broken out, a couple times, that just with people that have never had it before.
This one, he's missing out. He needs to take a sip.
Is going to be this guy right here.
Moving on to the next topic. What big bottles to celebrate with?
Sorry, my bad. I kind of went in there, but
Segue.
I'm segue into that one. That's the one that I've broken this one out one time before, and it's multiple times on Christmas, multiple Christmases, because I have not drank that in 1 year because it's a very hard bottle to find.
It is very hard to find, and you have to treat yourselves.
You do.
And if you can't figure out when to treat yourselves, what better time than sharing with friends and family during the holiday?
Yep. But one of the ones, going back to yours. So we're doing lightning round, so I was trying to get two birds with one stone.
Sure. And then I have a feeling that next time, if you see that on camera, because tis the season,
it's probably going to be open.
That bad boy won't be there.
No.
Yeah.
But no, honestly, what I really try to do is, last year was this, but one of my go-tos, everybody, when we have people over here, when we're getting trees set up, when we're taking things down, when we're just sitting there watching Christmas Vacation, that's one of my go-tos, honestly.
Hey, nothing wrong with that at all.
How about you?
So, what I drink on versus when we celebrate with. So,
right.
What I drink on typically during the holiday season, if I'm not gifted one of these fine bottles, what I'm going to drink on, I still stick to my rotation, my decanters, and yes, it is that good.
It is.
It is that good.
It is.
Yeah. If you guys haven't tried this, nobody has ever said it was bad.
No.
Yeah. You guys have got to try this. But just reach out to us, pick a topic, say you want to join in or host. We're mobile.
Yeah.
That being said, this is the control. We've had plenty of shots in the dark. We've had plenty really accurate, inaccurate, not accurate, very accurate guesses. Control. Very good. That being said, if I could drink this on the regular, this would be my control. That I would drink this during the holiday time.
Yes,
I agree. That being said, so in my decanters, I usually have a 1792.
Yes.
I usually have an Eagle Rare when available, and it's available now, so it's in my decanters.
That's why.
So that will stay in my holiday rotation. Last year, hands down, I drank Bison.
Right.
Prior to that, my standard go-tos still applied. Did I open something big on the holiday seasons? I actually only do that if I have bourbon drinkers with me.
Right.
Because
you don't want... Right.
Well, no, a lot of the times they drink other things,
right,
and not bourbon. So do I treat myself on the holiday time? Sure. I will go get one pour of something that's already opened. Mm-hmm. But to be honest with you, what usually I turn to is Taylor. And this is the 21 small batch Taylor. We did one of our first videos that we did was with this. So if we want to bring these out and put them up front, this is the Taylors. And so
I'll tell you what, this one-on-ones I would love to, but they're just so hard to find.
They're super hard to find now. We had a good year last year with them. They're a little bit harder this year.
Right.
And it could be a production, it could be glass shortage, we don't know. But we're just glad to have the ones that we do have.
Exactly.
And so I'm a big Taylor fan, everybody knows that. And so Taylor is definitely one that I would recommend treat yourself with or keep in your rotation if you have the availability to do that.
Right.
Now, last topic. So what we would celebrate with, I would celebrate with A. Taylor. I didn't say which Taylor. I just said A. Taylor. So bottles to look for real quick if you can't find these, which should be available. But let's just say we get asked for bottles all the time.
Yeah.
And you've been there.
Oh yeah.
You've heard it.
I've heard a lot of it.
You've even talked to the customers about it. And so he's been there. He's heard it. I've heard it. You guys have probably been in the store, hopefully. And if you haven't, please come to the store.
Can I tell you one of the first, when you're ready, can I tell you one of the first ones?
Well, sure. There's going to be bottles that are asked for that aren't these that you can see that are really difficult, or I don't know, your market could be easier to find, but in our market it's not.
No.
So we need to discuss what we can't find versus what we wish we could find. And then what do you have?
So quick story, very quick story. Was in your store, had a bottle in my hand. Wanted to get the bottle just because there's something I'm trying to accomplish with the bottle.
So good.
And so gentleman walks in, sees it, asks, is there any more? That was the last one you had. Decided to give it to him because he was giving it for a gift. Thought it was a good segue into this. So the one what it was Blanton's.
Blanton's is where I was hoping you were going to go with this, because Blanton's is a all-time sought-after bottle.
It is.
It's gotten bigger and bigger. I don't have Blanton's for us to show, but I do have Blanton's straight from the barrel. So if we wanted to pour this, this is a 130.0 Blanton's straight from the barrel. Is a Euro bottle. It's shipped over. I'm glad to have it. It's not something I drink on the regular. I'm not a Blanton's fan per se. It's BT2, which is Buffalo Trace Mash 2. We talked about that earlier.
Right.
This just happens to peg right at 130.0, which is really cool.
Not a bad drinker.
I like it when barrel proofs come out as even.
Yeah. Not a bad drinker and everything, but Blanton's to me was a great story because it was one of those, I was getting it for myself because I'm trying to get all the horses, which most everybody is.
Yeah.
But to me, it wasn't worth it. This person was giving it for a gift.
For a gift. And a lot of people do gift giving. And so that is one that we get asked for a whole lot.
Yes.
But again, you can't put this in your top 5 from our market when it only exists in X amount of bottles.
Yeah, I mean, you get one, maybe, a
it could
month
be, who
or so.
knows?
Yeah,
well,
however.
It depends on what the store is,
exactly.
and so on and so forth. And so more bottles that people ask for that would be a really good one. So Elijah Craig Small Batch would be right after Makers or right after Buffalo recently,
right,
as far as a gift. So if we had a number 6, a top 6, Elijah Craig Small Batch. But this year, a very popular gift item, maybe, or just treat yourself to a gift, is the Elijah Craig Toasted.
Yes.
So Elijah Craig Toasted Barrel is a very widely popular right now bottle to either obtain to drink or either obtain to gift, because it is like the upper echelon in the standard Elijah Craig, because it's toasted, which we talked about toasted earlier.
Yep. And it's one of those where I think toasted is kind of the new, I don't want to say new fad, but it's kind of new out there. But
it kind of is.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And it's because it completely changes the whiskey.
It does.
It makes it a completely different profile. And I'm not saying that you guys will or will not like toasted, but it is a very good one to go after.
Give it a try, because guess what? It's just like anything else.
You could love it.
But it's not one that you're going to pour down the drain.
No.
Anything else, if it does not taste good to you right then, let it air out for a little bit, put it on a cube of ice, and see what that does to it.
And so this right here, if you wanted to really impress somebody, if you found one, like say you needed a gift that wasn't your standard 29 or 25, whatever the deal level they'd buy of Elijah Craig, go ahead and step it up.
Exactly.
And it's in the 50s. But you've got a higher end toasted. It's released at least 3 times a year.
And it's not going to break your bank.
No, it's not. Yeah. And so we have two more. We'll bring them at the same time.
Yep.
You want to grab one?
Yep.
Old Forester line.
You can't go wrong with Old Forester, honestly.
So these are a little bit higher end.
Yes.
And it is the Whiskey Row series.
Mm-hmm.
And so the overall fan favorite from Spirits is 100% the 1920. The Justin favorite is the 1870, which is the first one they rolled out with.
It's so good.
And so these are other gift options and ideas.
As you can see, not open. Will be open soon.
Yeah. This one's already opened, and I'd love to enjoy a pour, which we might do that after the video.
Exactly.
But again, this is just gift ideas. We did the top 5. Then we segued into what you might look for or ask for what you might not be able to find, and then what you can find. So now we've got a cluttered table.
We do. But I'll tell you what.
Bring the old foes back down.
You can find
these. Are available.
Yes.
So these are great gifts. They cost you a little bit more,
but
they're
worth it to me.
Old Foe or Old Forester should be findable. But again, the original 5. And now we're still drinking on this one.
Yes.
So I believe that we've done a fairly okay job.
I think so. I mean, I think we've covered everything. I think it's great to see what is available. To me, it's great to see what's available in our market because not very many people understand how things are going when it comes to gifts and how it's going out around this time, bourbon season, Christmas season, how things are actually flowing out as from the stores. And it might be something you've never seen before or never tried. And honestly, give them a try. You cannot go wrong with them.
I agree. And so there's only one thing I have left, Charles. First off, the final cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to you guys. Thank you for joining in if you did join in. If you watch to the end of the video is when you'll find this last little bit. Now this is an important question. Are you ready for this?
I think so.
This is an important question.
I'm going to not take a drink. I'm going to listen.
So, this is the question. I had somebody reach out. I think it's a great idea.
Okay.
Bourbon Banter Evans does a E.H. Taylor.
Ooh, I like it already.
21, meaning
2021. Yep.
Released. Yep. Flight review.
I think that would be something that would be great for the channel, and I would love to do.
So if you're in,
I'm in
on an E.H. Taylor 2021 release review.
Yeah.
Look at what's been released. Look at what could be available, and look what could be possible on that E.H. Taylor review.
Okay.
Then reach out to us. Let us know you actually saw the end of the video, because we're going to need to know whether you're available. Because my guess is, I think we need 2 people.
I think so.
To volunteer, to ante up and help out, and let's do an E.H. Taylor.
I agree.
Of the 2021 reviews for the night.
Yep.
And do a video, and we'll do nothing but a flight of Taylors.
So if you're still listening, you're still watching this. Put in the comments. Well, thank you very much. Like, subscribe, but put in the comments. Let us know if you're interested. And we'll go from there.
And if for whatever reason we have a whole bunch of people that are interested, then we'll choose at random name pick.
Random name.
And then we'll do 2 others with us, and we'll do an E.H. Taylor flight review. We're talking about small batch all the way...
Somewhere.
There's only one way to find out.
Exactly.
Because it's what was released in 2021. And so far, some of the E.H. Taylor stuff in 21 was amazing.
Phenomenal.
Yeah. And... of course, for good measure, I know a couple of people that have some Taylors that are lying around that might be willing to give us a pour to compare to from maybe other years.
Oh yeah.
So
I think we can drum up a few people.
Yeah. Just for fun.
Yep.
So
guys, thank you very much. Cheers.
And cheers to you. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you. Like, subscribe, and we'll talk to you later.